trade winds, monsoons, bora wind, mistral wind, foehn wind, hurricanes. Since the dawn of time we've tried to catch the wind and harness it, understand it, but never to tame it. The wind has been harnessed in mills for power, used as a catalyst for discovery, filling sails and shredding others to pieces. The first wind instrument was 43,000 years ago in China, a flute carved out of bear bone. The first sailboat was Egyptian in 3500 BC. The first airplane to take flight was in 1903. As long as the earth spins, the winds are constantly moving. If one looks to the weather vane or windsock, subtle shifting in the winds are noticed. And the one thing that is constant is change. I receive a call from Matthew James, a pilot, to meet him in an airport in Death Valley, where the runway has been decidedly left to erode. With extreme highs and lows of temperature, with cracks and potholes, it's a dangerous airport to land at, not to mention desolate. I wait on the tarmac. When I see his plane arrive from the east, he is flying in from Nevada. I have brought my camera and guitar to document the trip, by short films and some accompanying music, or at the very least something to entertain us. The idea of a song is something that is very similar to the wind. You can feel it but not touch it. You can hear it but not see it. You can notice it in the dance of nature. A song in one side of the valley can be heard and silent on the other.
Yeah, the Katabatic winds is pretty special. It comes down, as it comes down, it warms and it accelerates as well, the pressure on the air down through the Sierras, and then it gets closer to the Los Angeles basin, and it rushes down through those passes, the Soledad and the Cajon Pass. It's pretty cool. We'll fly down through that tomorrow.
My own physical health had never been the same since a skateboarding accident that left me in a cast for more than 2 years. Matthew told me he had suffered from something similar, a broken foot. After that, he chose not to be a competitive athlete. He took to training and coaching and helping others, often in the same way. Over coffee, several years back, he gave me a handful of exercises that changed my life. And then he was off. I hadn't seen him since.
And action.
The critical non-essentials. With the Katabatic wind as my mentor, the longer I do things, the more important the little things become. Coaching is an ecosystem. In sport, to be a better athlete, you must die to the past in order to perform one's best in the moment. For some athletes, when you perform, the pressure is gone. For some, performing can only be done under pressure. Like the landscape of Death Valley, sitting on a fault system. The plates moving to create a rift valley. The Katabatic wind moves from high to low pressure. When the training and practicing is complete, you must surrender to the wind and turn off your thinking mind.
Katabatic is derived from the Greek word katabasis, which means descending. The katabatic wind descends from the Great Basin and rushes through the deserts of California. Here it is the devil wind, Santanas, the Bora wind in the Adriatic, the Bohemian wind in the Ore Mountains, the Orochi in Japan, or the Greymouth in New Zealand. I started to scratch down some ideas for a song.
20 right at kilo, clear for takeoff. Katabatic Flight is clear for takeoff.
Seeing the 10,000 feet of sediment that rests in the valley, it's more than 200 feet below sea level. I think of all the occurrences that shape the valley. Then I think of all the occurrences in my life that put me right here with it at this moment.
Relative wind gives lift to the plane's wing. As I pass over the mountains, I am reminded it takes something as grand as the Sierras to even begin to tame this. And there I am, in my little plane, riding the wind, playing with it. The sky is my arena, and the rules are that of nature. Developing a positive relationship with the primordial, identifying it through the window of the present. Nature does not label things, it just is. Nor does it know time, only tells it. Move, and the mind will follow. Where once an ocean of fast convergence and destruction, an island arises.
Oscar 1149, you can monitor tower 126.8. Good day. Good day.
Here's 29er Juliet, runway 20 left at kilo, line up away.
Clear, Lacey.
When I'd seen him last 7 years ago, he hadn't flown a plane yet. Since then, he coached long-distance ocean swimmers, trained Olympic athletes, and helped people with rehabilitation through physical training.
I think I was as any kid. I looked to the sky. You fly a plane over a child, and a child will look up. It doesn't get old to me. If I think back before I was a pilot, I was fascinated with the earth. The rocks under my feet, sedimentary into metamorphic rock. Pressure and temperature shape them, as it shapes the wind, ultimately shaping our own metamorphosis. Pressure is indeed sustaining, as a breath. Vectors of change have been faced, others endured, and still more will arise. Katabatic wind.
And there it was. There was my song, Katabatic Wind, based on all the talks we had had during our flight. That evening, I sat under the wing of the plane and I finished writing it.
Katabatic wind blowing through all of the ages. A katabatic wind.
Sometimes you don't notice that you've changed courses, but over time, you realize that you're someplace completely different. The next morning, he told me he was off to Mexico. He asked me if I wanted to join. I said I would stay on the island a few days and then make my way home. And like that, he was gone again.
I rode in from the Great Basin, just a devil in wings. Who you were, who you are, it's all about to change. In the katabatic wind, blowing through all the ages. In the katabatic wind, blowing through all the ages. Shift your head, don't look back. Past, present, no more cages. That shadow on the ground that you once knew is running over the plains. In the Katabatic